love this story I heard about a man sitting at the kitchen table reading the morning paper. It was Saturday morning, and he promised his little girl that he would spend all day playing with her. So his daughter comes running downstairs, eager to go outside and play, and the father said, "Oh, sweetheart, I just need a few more minutes before we play." Well, the daughter was antsy and irritable, tugging on his arm. Finally, the dad ripped out a picture from the newspaper of the world. He tore it into little tiny pieces across the table and said, "Put this puzzle of the world together, and when you finish, we'll go outside and play." Well, the little girl finished in less than 3 minutes. Shocked, the dad said, "How in the world did you do this so fast?" And the little girl said, "Well, I dropped a piece on the floor, and when I went under the table to pick it up," she said, "I looked up at the glass and I could see a picture of a woman on the back of all the little pieces." She said, "So I just turned all the pieces over and put the photo of the woman in place." Then she said this, "Once I put the woman together, the world just fell into place." I love that. See, your world will come together as you put yourself together. And I'm going to show you how real quick. By the way, I'm Terri Savelle, your cheerleader of dreams, and this channel is all about helping you live the dreams God has put in your heart. I don't just tell you, live your dreams. I like to show you what God has taught me to get out of a rut, to build my confidence, and to stop the bad habits that were preventing me from living the life I have now. In fact, I want to tell you real quick, your free download this week. I was going to wait until the end to tell you, but I can't wait because I want you to get this. I know it's going to help you. I want you to get this free chapter. It's actually chapter 8 from my book, 5 Things Successful People Do Before 8 a.m. But the chapter I'm giving you is called 10 Things Unsuccessful People Do that the successful don't. Now, I researched these thoroughly to write this chapter, and I'm telling you, it's eye-opening. I want you to read these one by one and just use it as a checklist to just sort of steer clear of them. Now, these are bad habits that will stop you from winning in life. So just click the link in the description and you'll get that free chapter right now. Okay, so what is the mindset shift that every successful person learns first? Well, let me give you some personal examples of people I've met and see if you can see a common thing among all of them. First of all, a lady named Carol, who at 56 years old realized she had saved nothing, no money aside. Well, one day she made a decision to take responsibility for where she was financially, and she got a vision for how she wanted to retire one day. She started reading books, about financial health, listening to messages to retrain her mindset. Well, by the time she was 62, we're talking 6 years later, she had saved over $100,000. Here's another story. I know a pastor in Denver, Colorado, who struggled with her weight since having her babies. Her babies are now in their 20s. But she made a decision to take responsibility for her health and her lack of energy. She began listening to motivational teaching while just walking 20 minutes a day. She said, out of 24 hours in a day, I can find 20 minutes to do something for my physical health. Well, she's lost 26 pounds and kept it off. Last one. Actually, I have a picture of this sweet girl. I met this girl at a conference. Her name is Jane Ann. I was speaking out, it was in Colorado, and she handed me a piece of paper with a list of things she'd accomplished in a short 18 months. Here's the list. It included everything from passing her nursing exam, getting a $5,000 signing bonus, buying her dream car, which was a Jeep Wrangler, losing 75 pounds. I mean, the list keeps going. I said, "What happened?" She said, "I got tired of watching everybody else go after their dreams while I just sat by full of excuses." She said, "I made a vision board, subscribed to your podcast, read every book you've ever written," and she said, "I started taking action." Well, as you can see from every single story, everything starts with a decision. And we all know that your life today is a series of decisions you've made up to now. In other words, if you want the future to be different, you need to make different decisions, right? And the decision or the mindset shift that every successful person learns first is this: take 100% responsibility for your life. You know, I heard Zig Ziglar tell the story of how when he was just a young, aspiring speaker, he heard a motivational speaker say this phrase. He said, "You are where you are because that's exactly where you chose to be." Zig said, "I was broke, down in the dumps, and in debt." He said, but it came through loud and clear that I was where I was and what I was because of me, because of the choices and decisions I made. Well, of course, he started making choices to turn his life around. But the truth is, and I promise I'm not trying to be mean, but you are where you are right this minute in your life. And that means your health, your debt, your relationships, your lifestyle, your mindset, because of you. But you can also take responsibility to improve it. And that's where I began the shift in my life. You know, for example, President John F. Kennedy, he did not know how America could land a man on the moon. And when he asked Dr. Warner Van Braun what it would take to build a rocket, carry a man to the moon, and bring him safely back, you know what Dr. Van Braun said? The will to do it. Well, I believe you have the will to succeed, or you wouldn't be watching a channel like this. But now it's time to follow up your will with firm decisions. You know, Jack Canfield said there's only one person responsible for the quality of your life, and that person is you. Now, maybe like me, you've stopped learning. In fact, I remember hearing the phrase that when you stop growing, you start dying. And the truth is that when you stop feeding your mind like I did for 11 years after college, you just become stagnant. But something interesting happens when you start the journey of personal growth. The more you learn, the hungrier you get to learn more. It's like you just can't get enough. You begin to crave knowledge and wisdom just as much as you used to crave just sitting on the couch watching Netflix. Why? Because you start experiencing the rewards from your new mindset and habits. You know, Jim Rohn said, you can't change your destination overnight, but you can change your direction overnight. He said, if you want to reach your goals and fulfill your potential, become intentional about your personal growth. He said it will change your life. Well, I speak from experience. See, the truth is, you didn't get to choose which country you were born in, which city you grew up in, whose parents you were born to, or even the environment you were raised in. You didn't even get to choose your own name, something you would be called for a lifetime. But you get to choose how your story goes on from this point on. And for me, one day I just decided to take responsibility for where my life was going, and more importantly, how I wanted to end up. You know, I found out that what you do behind the scenes has more significance than what you do before a crowd. See, God always prepares us privately before he can use us publicly. So here's a good exercise. Imagine a teenager wanting to be successful like you, and they ask you, can I just shadow you for the next 5 days and just watch your habits? What would they see? What would they observe about your daily life, your routine, your rituals, your habits that would motivate them to want to be like you? Now, if the thought of that just makes you moan and go, dear God, I don't want that, then let me just give you some ideas of how I had to change. What if the teenager saw you get up just a little bit earlier? You don't have to, you choose to. Why? Because you want to invest in yourself before you invest in everybody else. You spend some quality time alone and just maybe journal your thoughts in prayer. And then they see you pick up a good personal growth book and you just read a little bit. Not for hours, just 10 minutes. But you highlight things. You make notes in the margin. Then maybe you make some positive declarations over yourself, your dreams and your goals as you look at your vision board. And then you finish off your morning routine by listening to a motivational teaching while you go for a walk for 30 minutes around the neighborhood. And then by 8 o'clock in the morning you say, now let's get to work. Do you think they would be impressed, inspired, surprised, motivated? You bet they would. You know, I never dreamed in 2002 when I started taking responsibility for my personal growth, like I just described, just by setting my alarm clock a little bit earlier, that it would not only lead to getting me out of a rut, but into a routine that changed the entire course of my life. See, here's the thing. What's simple to do is also simple not to do. It's so simple to make some declarations that last 2 minutes, but it's also simple not to do that. But here's what I found out. The biggest difference between the successful and the unsuccessful is that successful people are willing to do what unsuccessful people are not willing to do. You know, just remember, God can't use you publicly until you get victory privately with nobody watching. And that preparation begins by taking responsibility for your life, your growth, your habits. So I want to help you this week. I want you to get this free chapter, chapter 8, called 10 Things Unsuccessful People Do. So you can just start taking responsibility for where you're headed. And remember, people are rewarded in public for what they practice in private. So click the link in the description there, get your free chapter, and remember, I'll be cheering you on to live your dreams. Hey YouTube! Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and to get more inspirational content, click one of these videos right here. And remember, I'm cheering you on to live your dreams.